Before I start, I want everyone to get out their phones. Raise them up. I want to see them. Now power them off. Completely, not just silent, completely off. Okay, hi there. How many of you remember middle school? How many of you remember social media in middle school? Fewer of you. I'm 12 years old and currently in 7th grade. I know, you're jealous. Don't be. It's insanely stressful, as you might remember from your own middle school days. But instead of making you remember the good old days, I'm here to tell you my story that goes from saying, I hate you to my parents, to saying thank you about my experiences with social media and what I've learned from those experiences. I downloaded Instagram a few months ago. I thought this was so great, so I spent hours and hours on it, trying to get more comments, followers, views, and likes. As I've been told, I was definitely not the best person to be around. I was so focused on getting more likes on my posts and views on my stories that I completely lost interest in what was going on around me. Real life disappeared and was replaced by the fake life of Instagram. And then my phone, my everything, was taken away for a whole month. During the first week, I was pretty angry at my parents because they were always on their phones when I couldn't be. It just wasn't fair. I thought everyone at school was going to judge me and notice that I didn't have a phone. I thought I would have no source of entertainment because everyone around me was always on their phones and didn't talk to me. And I no longer carried a book with me, even though I used to always have my nose in a book. This is where I said, I hate you to my parents. But during the second week, I started to realize that maybe nobody noticed that I had a phone. And there were a lot of kids that didn't have phones, and nobody was judging them. I also started experiencing something weird during that second week called phantom vibration syndrome. I know, it's scary. Where you feel like your phone is vibrating in your pocket, but there's no phone there. It's a legitimate thing. And the phantom vibration continued into the third week, where I started to realize that maybe not having my phone was for my own good. I had never before thought about how this was negatively impacting me until my friends and family told me that they liked being around me more because of my communication, ability to connect, emotions, and overall behavior. It was hard for me to admit that maybe life without a phone was a better life for me. During the fourth week, I realized I felt free. I could go outside and throw a frisbee with my dad and make paper airplanes with my friends without having to feel a vibration in my pocket every 2 seconds. It felt like a burden had been lifted from my shoulders. I no longer had to worry about checking who else had followed me or what new messages I had. So, without my phone, I picked up a book again. I've been reading a book called Disconnected by Thomas Kirsting about how the device-dependent world children these days live in is affecting their social, emotional, and mental well-being and what we can do about it. There are a lot of very intriguing and very disturbing things that I've learned from this book, including how the average 13-year-old spends 8 hours a day, 7 days a week on a device. But that's according to a study done in 2008 that did not include smartphone or tablet use. But a more recent study done in 2015 that did include those things has shown that the average teenager is on a screen for 9 hours a day. And those labeled as heavy users have screen time for 13 hours a day. Think about that. That's more than 6 months of a year, more than half of your life wasted scrolling mindlessly through Instagram and watching cat videos, which actually, cat videos are not a waste of time, but anyway, 75% of 7th to 12th graders have a social media account. When I first downloaded Instagram, I would think of basically anybody I knew at my school, search them up, and 9 times out of 10, there they were, right on my screen, just waiting for one more valuable follow. Now, getting more into the science of social media, when we spend most of our time communicating through text messaging rather than face-to-face, the brain will weed out the neural pathways that are necessary for becoming good face-to-face communicators. I have said many things to people online that I would deeply regret the next day when I would have to talk to them in person. Because you can say whatever you want on social media and not experience any true consequences, good or bad, you will never see that person break into tears or a fit of laughter. Now, I realize most adults don't want to hear advice from a 12-year-old, but what I'm about to say is important because teenagers are the experts on this subject. I need the parents and guardians out there to start being parents to their kids, not friends. Sometimes that means taking away the things that they will be the most angry at you about, because those are often the most problematic and stressful things in your kids' lives. In this case, don't be afraid to be a helicopter parent. I can tell you that you have no idea what your kids are doing on their phones. You can install all the parenting apps you want, but we know how to get around them. Monitor phone usage, monitor app downloads, monitor chats and text conversations. Tell your kids that you're doing it. You don't need to be sneaky about it. The reason my phone was taken away is because my mom found some conversations on there that she was not okay with, and so she texted that person back and told them that she disliked that conversation. Yeah. As embarrassing as this was for me, it was the right thing for her to do. But if you do have to take the phone away, you need to sit down with your kids and explain the reasons why, no matter how uncomfortable it is or how angry they get at you. They may tell you they hate you, but eventually they will thank you. If you want your kids to show up and be there with you, you need to show up as a parent and do the right thing for them, no matter how hard it is. Now, take your phones back out. You can turn them on now. I know, you're welcome. How many of you felt uncomfortable during that 10-minute period of time? It's okay, you can be honest. How many of you felt like you were going to miss out on something important? All right. How many of you actually missed out on something important? Yeah. That was me for a whole month, and I'm a better person now than I've ever been because of it. Thank you.